Ava and Carol Detective Agency. The Mystery of the Pharaoh's Diamonds. Would they be brazen enough to just sneak past the guards? Did they come in through the loading zone? Ava looked up at the corner of the room. A motion detector flashed. Her heart jumped. Why didn't it go off? She cautiously moved toward it. There appeared to be something over the sensor. It looked like a thick piece of glass, the size of a matchbook. Ava then eyed the window. Both locks were secured. An alarm with a digital readout sat atop the window frame. It sent millions of invisible pulses to a receiver. If the connection was broken, the alarm would go off. I don't see any scratches on the locks or any sign of forced entry. But, Ava noticed, the center of the windowsill was clean, whereas the outer edges had dust on them, as if the center had been wiped down. Ava took a picture of the window, the locks, and the alarm system. She peered down. It was at least a 25-foot drop from the window to the ground. She spun around and took pictures of the motion detector. Mental note: the thieves had to have visited the exhibit earlier. There has to be video of them. Figure out how to see the video. Just as she was about to take a panoramic video of the room, an angry voice shouted, "What are you doing in there?" Ava nearly jumped out of her skin. A very vexed and very muscular security guard stood in the doorway, holding Carol by the top of her arm. Ava recognized him from the security room. He had jet black hair and barely visible beady little eyes that, at the moment, Ava knew, were boring holes into her soul. His walrus-sized mustache would have been funny, but under the circumstances, even his mustache looked frightening. "You're not supposed to be in there," he yelled. His face contorted and turned an unhealthy crimson color. "You are trespassing and breaking the law." He jabbed his finger at the police tape. Ava gulped. Her mind was spinning. How was she going to get them out of this one? Carol just stood with her head hanging low, looking like a broken puppet. "Get out of there right now!" he demanded, pointing an accusatory finger at Ava. I'm going. Ava considered her options. She could either try running and jumping over the tape, limbo beneath it, or she decided on the least confrontational method. Ava dropped to her hands and knees and crawled under the police tape. As she stood, all she saw was leg and more leg. Geez, he's tall. The man looked from Ava to Carol and then back to Ava. "What were you doing in that room?" He looked at Ava suspiciously. "And don't try to play games with me. I'm a human lie detector." "I apologize. I was taking a selfie. Carol and I are into true crime shows, and I accidentally dropped my phone. It slid into the room." The man stuck out his lower lip and scowled. "I told you, don't lie to me." He squeezed Carol's arm, making her wince. Ava went from being frightened to infuriated. "Let her go right now. You do realize she's the mayor's daughter, you jerk," bluffed Ava. The guard looked taken aback for a moment, and then regained his composure. He lowered his snarling face toward Ava. She took a step back. He definitely wasn't a fan of mouthwash. "The mayor is in her 80s. I highly doubt this is her daughter." "Did I say daughter? I meant granddaughter. You're going to be in so much trouble." "Her granddaughter cut the ribbon for our new exhibit. She's 40 years old." "Really? Then my friend here has been lying to me this whole time. I'm not judging you, Carol, but pretending to be the mayor's granddaughter?" Ava shook her head. If you are finished accosting my friend, I'll make sure she gets the help that she needs." Carol shook her head. "I'm so going to kill her." "Matter of fact, I should capture this moment." Ava held up her phone and snapped a picture. "You couldn't capture the culprit behind the theft, but you managed to grab a teenage girl."
"That does it. Give me your phone."
He grabbed Ava by the hand and proceeded to try to rip it from her. Ava clamped her other hand on top of the phone, squeezing it like an anaconda. The guard grabbed her index finger and pried it backward. "Ouch!" yelled Ava. Without a thought, she whirled toward the guard and slammed her foot into his shin. The guard's throat made a weird squeaky noise, and his eyes nearly bulged out of his skull. "Ouch!" he screamed, even more enraged than before. Ava's mouth also flew open as stars danced in front of her eyes. She'd seen dozens of kids kick bad guys in the shins, but no one had warned her that it was a toe-crushing experience. She had been led to believe that it was the ultimate bad guy escape trick. Sadly, she had been deceived by Hollywood. "Ow! Just ow!" she breathed out, walking in circles. Her toes began sending the word ouch over and over to her brain, followed by the heartfelt question of, why? What did we do to deserve this? The guard's face had turned from crimson to a lovely shade of purple. It was as if he had the ability to channel all the colors of the rainbow or a bag of Skittles. He lunged at Ava just as a heavenly voice, like a ray of sunlight, broke through the chaos. "George Marcel, what on earth are you doing?" The security guard whipped his head around. He immediately released Ava's hand and let go of Carol's arm. "What is going on here? Have you lost your mind?" Gladys's voice rang out powerfully. Ava and Carol couldn't believe it. Gladys had come to their rescue. They looked at each other and then at George.
"Gladys, I caught this young lady snooping around the Egyptian exhibit. The police said no one was to go into that room under any circumstances."
He looked darkly at the girls.
"I think they should be in jail."
"George, they are children. I hardly think the police are going to arrest them and haul them off to jail. I know that you are under a lot of stress, but really—"
She shook her head in disapproval.
"I'll take over from here. I know Ava's parents."
She turned to Ava and Carol, her face filled with anger.
"Girls," she said sternly, "we are going to go downstairs to have a little chat, and then you're calling your parents to tell them what you've done."
George reluctantly agreed. Under the pretense of reattaching a piece of police tape, he kneeled and whispered,
"Next time I catch you girls in this museum, I'm going to lock you in the basement."
He smiled an evil, villainous smile, then spat out the word, "forever." Ava and Carol shivered as a chill raced down their spines. Carol looked up at Gladys. She could see the disappointment in her eyes and the tight tug of frustration at the corner of her mouth.
"I'm sorry, Gladys," she whispered. "We'll talk downstairs," said Gladys as she grasped Carol's hand. "Now help me down these steps."
When they reached Gladys's desk, Ava looked into her eyes. "I'm so sorry that I went into the exhibit. We heard about the robbery and we thought maybe we could help."
"I know it seems silly," offered Carol, "but we have solved a couple of cases. Well, not cases. We're not detectives or anything."
Gladys crossed her arms and shook her head.
"Girls, I expected more of you. I am incredibly disappointed in your careless, reckless behavior today. This isn't how you go about things.
If you're enjoying Thomas Lockhaven's audiobook content, please like and subscribe. It's the best way to help out the channel.